Hello, everybody. Hello, X2. Hello, Rishu. Hello, hello. And people are drilling in the walls again. Yeah, let me enable noise canceling. Bytes Watcher? Hello, Bytes Watcher. You're in the right stream. Oh, I see. I assume. You know what? I wondered. Didn't want to assume. I see. Now I don't feel like a beat anymore. Let's see. Fun fact. My var mount point is formatted as RiserFS. Unrelated RiserFS were recently removed from the kernel. Fun times. Oh yeah, I heard about that. Guy should not have killed his wife. And, and then maybe, that's another bad consequence of murdering people. Every time we do bad things, it ripples and echoes over the ages up to the point of forcing random people to have to update to change their file system. Oh, it is what it is. Failed to post to Blue Sky. Bad request. But actually, Hachidermo was fine with it. I guess it's because Blue Sky assumes this is a at somebody. Let's go post manually on Blue Sky. I love both Ras and Zig. Waiting for Zig 1.0. Hopefully, with more documentation and a freeze on essential new features, this is essential to be able to keep the language in my head. I mean, that's fair, although it's going to be a while. Okay, let's see if we can post it this time. Post. So from the UI, it works. Huh. So check this out. I typed up some the langgraph for undeprecated. What do people think? Do you guys think this is clear enough? Do you think it needs to be I don't know, changed? Let me bring it up again. I zoomed the font size a little bit. Hi from a rarely coding programmer, almost first time here. Hello, Silverbug on YouTube. Hello, hello. Hello, null pointer. Okay. So here's the plan for today. Let me close this social media stuff so you can see. I mean, I still have my to-do list from the other day, but so far I would say I'm probably gonna focus on the first item only. Who knows? Maybe we'll take instant to get it done, and then we can move to something else. But I don't think that will be the case. So we were basically focusing on at deprecated this stream, and I did a bunch of implementation work on my own. And yeah, so basically now I got to the point where well, actually you saw me do actually a lot of this work also on stream. So after that I think I did something a little bit more on my own, but that was mostly what you saw on stream. One thing that I did on my own was type up the langgraph instructions for it. So you know, this is going to be my first draft, then this PR is going to be reviewed, and so we'll see. Is it the same as you did in the stream with MLAG? Kinda, yes. That's where it all started. So here's the whole story. The whole story is I was doing that stream with MLAG. We wanted to implement a built-in just to see what it takes to implement a built-in, not doing it like for real, just as an exercise. We did it, and then while we were deciding what to implement, there was this discussion with chat about deprecation. And so the idea was, well, you know what? What if we implement at deprecated? So I've implemented at deprecated, and then and then left it in a branch, then made a proposal for it. The proposal got accepted with some changes. So this deprecated that you see here has not the same exact semantics as the one that I implemented originally. And this one is more nuanced. And yeah, and so after the proposal got accepted, and you said, well, if you have an implementation, PR it. Maybe we can merge it in time for 0.14. And so that's what basically I've been doing. What will be different? Well, what is different is that basically here's, you know, let me read the, you know what? Okay, Bytes Watcher, while you're here, so you are going to be my test subject. I'm going to read you this part of the langgraph, and you tell me if you understand what that is supposed to mean and what are the implications, so that we can test how clear is my writing. And by the way, it's not going to be necessarily obvious. Like I know that I'm not dissecting the subject start to finish. I'm basically explaining. I'm explaining, I guess, at a high level what it does, but then there might be some implications that might be not immediately obvious. So let's do it and let's see how clear it is. So at deprecated, used to mark a given code path as deprecated. When not causing a compile error, evaluates to the same value passed in as argument. By default, it is a compile error to depend on deprecated code in a module defined by the root package, while it is not in modules defined by dependencies. This behavior can be overridden for the entire dependency tree by passing these flags. The flag part, I think it's not super interesting, so you can omit this part. So usage of this built-in is meant to help direct consumers discover and remove their dependence on deprecated code during the grace period before a deprecated functionality is turned into a compile error or removed entirely. Deprecated typo, I'll fix that in a moment. As an example, in Zig 014.0, std time.sleep was deprecated and the sleep function was moved to std thread sleep. This is how this deprecation could have been expressed. Deprecated can also be used without argument. So basically, if you have a code path, it's where you have, like, you know, com time branching over this stuff, then you can do, you can put at deprecated. And so when you run it, it tells you if you hit it, and we do hit it because here we are selecting the combination of com time parameters that get us in here, we get this, found deprecated code, and then the comment says use fast strategy when foo is false. So this usage pattern, I think, is not new. I think we implemented this also with MLAG. The key point is it's here, or I guess these two central sections. So if you remember, the original one had a global flag that basically said, well, by default, deprecated wasn't an error. By default, deprecated would compile, and then you could enable you could pass f deprecated, and that would turn them into compile errors. I would suggest repressing the second sentence. It's not obvious what error you talk about until you read the next paragraph. This one. I need to explain that it evaluates. I guess I can omit this part and just say evaluates to the same value passed in as argument. Maybe, okay, let's change this a little bit. I say when given an argument, it evaluates to it. Use to error usage deprecated functions. Whoa, what? Use to mark a given code path as deprecated. It evaluates to the same value passed in as argument or the void value when given none. That's nice. By default, it is a compile error to depend on deprecated code in a module defined by the root package. Okay, so let's go to the core point. There will be a default to error. Yes, it will default to error, although there's nuance there. So the way it works. Hey, Daniela boy, what music is this? Winter Warmth Best of Lo-Fi Hip Hop 2025 Beats to Relax / Study 2 by Soulful Rhythms. It's a radio thing. So here's the idea. The idea is, let's say that the standard library has a deprecated sleep. So std time.sleep has been deprecated. If you, in your program, type in your main function std.time.sleep, that is going to be a compile error because your code is depending on a deprecated API. Did you expect Andrew to accept the proposal? Well, I expected the proposal to be worthwhile considering. So if I make a proposal, I expect it to be compelling, at least a bit. I don't expect necessarily for it to be accepted. Accepting a proposal requires evaluating a lot of aspects of it, most of which a good chunk of which, at least, I'm not fully aware of. So, for example, when you make a proposal, it's not just what usage pattern that will have, like how we will influence the users of that feature. That part, I think I can approximate in my head reasonably well. But then there's also implementation considerations or potential conflict with other features that are maybe in Andrew's head. So he's planning to do something that will be a bad match with a given proposal. So the proposal is not necessarily bad on its own, but it doesn't fit, his plans. So I think it's a bad idea to write a proposal with the expectation of it being accepted. I do think it's good. It's a good idea to write a proposal that you expect to be worth considering. So that was my expectation. Oh, change the comment. Oh no, I'm not changing the comment, and I'm not suggesting people to use fallow deprecated. Fallow deprecated is there for convenience, but like, it's the point is when you hit this. Also, when this is this, you should know that basically you have to change this to this. It's a reassignment. It's kind of obvious the relationship between these two decals. Like this decal is a re-export basically of this decal. Also, this should be pub sleep. Let's make that pub so that it's more clear to people. There we go. Okay, so going back to the explanation. So let's say that you have this in the Sun library. If in your code, so you're writing your main function and you do std.time.sleep and you build, then you will get a compile error. What if it's consting a deprecated struct? I'm not sure. What's the question? Like, what does that mean at that point? I don't know. Like, okay, this is a case where it is not immediately obvious where the thing has moved or not. Like, putting other comments is a good idea. It's not a bad idea. So, like, for example, in here, it's not obvious what's wrong with this. And so you put in a comment, you say use for strategy when foo is false, for example. So it's not necessarily always meant to be self-evident. In this example, it kind of is. And there are definitely like usage patterns that are suboptimal. Like, is it a good idea to wrap an entire struct definition in there? I don't know. I'm not sure. You can do it, but probably not the greatest of ideas. So, or you know what? Maybe it is. Maybe occasionally it is. Who knows? Maybe I'm just not thinking of a use case where this could make sense. Maybe there is one. So the idea is, you're in main, you write std time to sleep, you get a build error. Now, here's the difference though. I am in my main function. I have a build script and I have dependencies. And one of my dependencies is old and is still doing std time.sleep. So std time.sleep is not done by my code, but it's done by code in one of my dependencies. That, by default, is not a compile error. The idea is to be able to deprecate functions and modules only? No, not necessarily. I mean, you can do this. If you want to, you can do this. I personally think so far, by the way, keep in mind, we came up with this idea recently and I haven't been able to use it once in my code, right? So there's also a phase where as smarter your design might or might not be, you need to have some time to test it out, right? To take it for a spin, see how it feels, maybe discover usage patterns. It happens a lot with Zig features that it like the feature gets designed and then after a while you try it out and then you discover if it's actually good, actually better than you thought of, better than you thought in the beginning, maybe worse, or maybe there's like a usage pattern that you didn't think of in the beginning that actually becomes genius afterwards. As I understand, deprecated will be used mainly in Zig STD code. Well, no, every time you have a package and you want to deprecate a function, you do this. That's the idea. So sure, the Zig standard library code is, if you think about it, at the moment, maybe probably ever, the most important package in the Zig ecosystem, since it comes for free with the compiler and everybody depends on it. But imagine that you're depending on, let's think of a library where this would make sense. I mean, there's plenty, but I'm trying to find like a compelling example. I don't know. Maybe you're using Zig Clap and there's a new interface for defining parsers for the CLI, or you're using something else. Um, any package that has users that wants to move to a new API, but also wants to give a grace period for people to move their usage of all APIs to new APIs, then they can use deprecated. In the future, think about a future where, you know, Zig is 1.0 and now a stable ecosystem is forming around Zig. In that future, there might even be a case where a library never wants to break backwards compatibility. A library that always wants to offer, you know, they never want to break anybody's code, but they still want to improve it over time. So what happens when you have a library of that kind? What happens is that you do come up with new things, right? With new APIs, and some old ones become deprecated. You leave them there because removing them would break backwards compatibility, and you don't want to do that. But you also think that the old API is problematic, limited, inefficient. You know, it has issues that made you want to implement a new one. So when you write a library of this kind, how do you communicate to new users that they should use the new API because it's better and it's improved, and that the old stuff is there only because you don't want to break old code, like you don't want to break a compatibility with existing users. So you can use add deprecated. You put add deprecated, and users of your old stuff can upgrade. They can still depend on it, but then also your new users will not be, you know, quote unquote tricked into using older APIs. That's the idea. So far, you know, modulo bugs that I might have introduced in implementation. So far, I think that the only thing that is missing for at deprecated is tests. I need to write tests for it, and I think that at that point it should be good enough to PR. So yeah, maybe this is what I should be looking into. And I guess this is a matter of implementing tests. Also, what's the Git status? So look at the Git log. Advil system support. Okay, I guess the next one is gonna be the next one is gonna be well, I guess I can commit make a commit for introducing LangGraph N3 for deprecated. So let's see, is this good enough? I'm on board with the new changes to this first section here. I think this is good. By default, it is a compile error to depend on deprecated code in module defined by the root package. Well, it is not in modules defined by dependencies. Double to fix it. Oh yeah. Let's go fix it. Thank you. Deprecated. Thank you. Okay, so by default, it is a compile error to depend on deprecated code in a module defined by the root package, while it is not in modules defined by dependencies. This behavior can be overridden for the entire dependency tree by passing fallow deprecated or fno allow deprecated to Zig build. Usage of this built-in is meant to help direct consumers discover and remove their dependence on deprecated code during the grace period before a deprecated functionality is turned into a compile error or removed entirely. Okay, perfect. I think this is good. We can commit and then move on to testing. Okay, give me a sec. I'll be right back. I'm gonna just put in microwave a cup of tea, and now I'm gonna start. So, park AFK. It's not even gonna be 10 minutes. It's gonna be just 5 minutes. I'll be right back. Hey, I'm back. What's going on? Do-do-do-do-do. What if you move the first example before the second paragraph? Um, Maybe that's not a bad idea. I'm not quite following what does it mean. Yeah, this part. Well, I can. Okay, let's see. Well, let me read what Emlag is saying. Hi, Loris. I'm rather intoxicated. Still, dude, you need to stop drinking at some point. You know, that's how it works. At some point, you need to stop. Let's see. But if you're working on deprecated, then your sema impl is imperfect. There is a block of cases. There's a block of cases in the big switch in analyze body in there for instructions which never return the result, which deprecated should live in. Oof. Okay. Oh no, there's sema stuff. Oof. Okay. I guess this is gonna be the next thing that we look into then. Although we should, you know what? We also need to take a look at tests. At some point, we need to start testing this stuff. I'm assuming. So yeah. Let's see. I'm leaving now, but if that's what he's doing, then people please bump what he's. Once he's back. Yeah. Okay. Um, Dependencies can have deprecated code by default, but your code cannot. Correct. When explicit deprecation flag is passed. Correct. Exactly. So, well, that's what it means, though. That's the like. I understand that this might not be immediately obvious, but if you become familiar enough with the relationship between modules and packages, which I think which I think is not the role of this section to clarify or necessarily reinforce too much. So something else should have explained this information to you, in my opinion. The idea is this: a Zig compilation is made up of when I have a build script, you have a bunch of packages, right? You have your package, which is called the root package. Man, this is beautiful calligraphy, man. Wait, let me fix this. I'm gonna go with an uppercase R. So this is the root package, and then maybe you're gonna have a second package, and the second package is gonna be, and then you have the stdlib. The stdlib is also, well, the stdlib is a module, but it's a special one. That one comes from the compiler. You kind of get for free. So let's say this is gonna be something that contains stdlib, and then you have a dependency. And the dependency, man, I wish I could find a beautiful package as an example, that something that offers well, you know what? Maybe in our case, this could be, maybe it's going to be super HTML. Let's say that it's super HTML. Super HTML. So in your root package, you can define multiple modules, not only one. And super HTML as a package, so like as a repo with a build script and a build.zig.zon, that too can also declare multiple modules. A module is basically what you can add import in Zig. So, so the idea is that any code, so any module that comes from the root package cannot depend directly on deprecated code. So let's say that here there's like the time thing that is deprecated, right? So here you have time that is deprecated. If your code uses time directly, that's a compile error. But if you use super HTML, which in turn uses time, then this is fine. This is not an X. This is a very ugly check mark. Or you know what? Let's do round. Let's do circle for okay. So if the dependence on deprecated code is done because not directly, but because one of your dependencies does it, then that is fine. Then you can have it. So with this knowledge in mind, so understanding that you have a root package that contains potential multiple modules, and you have your dependencies that are packages, which in turn can contain multiple modules. And that modules are basically the basic unit of, well, maybe not the most basic, but like is a basic unit of code organization in the Zig ecosystem. And that they belong to a package. By the way, you remember also back when there was a change that forced so that a given Zig source file can only be part of a given module and it cannot be part of multiple modules at the same time. This was an annoying change at a point in time. But well, it probably brought a bunch of other benefits on the compiler side. But yet another benefit that it brought is that it now ensures that there is no confusion about what's going on here. There's like no ambiguous situation where a given file belongs to both to two weirdly shaped packages and then it's unclear what's going on. So in this case, it's always very well clear. Any given file is always part of a given module, which in turn is part of a given package. And so by tracing this tree relationship, like this tree-shaped relationship, then you can see that any given invocation of a code path that contains deprecated can either be considered a direct dependence, so your code depends directly on something deprecated, which, keep in mind, it doesn't mean that you're invoking necessarily something that is deprecated right away. It could be that you're invoking something that in turn is doing something in turn that's deprecated like deeper. But in any case, since you're doing it yourself, then you have an opportunity to avoid doing that, to fix it. And so it's a compiler error. Well, instead, if it has dependency, a dependency, if the standard library deprecates something and then the dependency still uses it, then it's not something that you need to address necessarily yourself right away, but it's something that can be addressed naturally by having the dependency make a new version. When the author of that dependency, like when the author of Super HTML will want to make a new release of Super HTML, guess what? They will get a compile error because from that perspective, that's going to be the root package. From the Super HTML perspective, this is going to be the root package, which depends directly on deprecated code. So they will get a compile error, and when they make a new release, they will have to change their code. But as long as they don't do that, as long as you're still using an old version of Super HTML that is still using deprecated functionality, you will still be able to do it without getting a compile error. So that's the idea. You can't have lines of code, including lines in dependencies. Yeah. Is this for Zig? Oh no, you're calling it trees. Okay. When I saw this, I was getting confused because trees is also the name of the bindings for tree-sitter that the Zig tools people have been using. Okay. But no, okay, it's a different package. Trees is the name of your executable. You're collecting all dependencies and then counting all the lines. That's really cool. I like this. Oh my god, I love this. This is awesome. This is awesome. I guess my question is, what is total lines? This is really awesome, Andrew. So I guess the only question that I have here is it counts lines. Okay, so it's Zig source. Here's what I would suggest to you to consider. You have two cool things that you can do. One is what you're doing. Count Zig source file lines. I'll watch until the end. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is not what I was referring to. So Here's another thing, cool thing that you can do. You can okay, here's what you need to do. One is you should respect paths. So you should consider at least having an option to respect paths. And I think that should be the default, which means that there might be a package that has extra files, maybe even zig files, but that are not covered by paths in the zone file. And if they are not covered by paths, in my opinion, by default, they should not count. For example, a bunch of test code. Test code, in my opinion, shouldn't really count towards lines of code that you're depending on. If we're looking for the perspective, if we look at it from the perspective of how many lines of code I'm depending on, test code maybe shouldn't count. I think that if you like, when it comes to like test blocks in source files, that doesn't matter. It's probably like a rounding error, so count them, not count them, doesn't matter much. But for example, there might be projects like the Z compiler that has a ton of tests, and the idea is that if you don't put those files in, if you don't include those files in your path field in your zone file, then they shouldn't count because they will be deleted on top of everything. They will be deleted by the Zigbee system. Although, you know what? Now that I think about it, maybe you are basically inheriting this behavior automatically. Yeah, you know what? If you're inspecting these files, like these packages from their location in the cache system, then you are basically inheriting this behavior for free now that I think about it, because the Zigbee system will delete any file that isn't mentioned in paths. So never mind. You are getting this for free. Cool. Okay, then point number 2, I think you should consider also basically counting things that aren't zig files. So in my opinion, the idea would be, you know, effective Zinline source codes. That's awesome. But also do the same for other files in case that there are. Z compiler has in a project that it counts files twice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes you have weirdly shaped stuff. Cool though. This is a very cool project. Do you have a link to the repo? I'm gonna definitely drop you a star at least. Oh, not yet. Well, when you publish it, let me know, because I think it's an awesome tool. It's still too crappy. I don't know, even if it's crappy. Oh well, okay. You decide what you want to do, but like, don't be ashamed to to put out crappy code. Uh, manage users' expectations accordingly. So tell people that your project is incomplete. But yeah, the moment you tell people that it's incomplete, I honestly think there's nothing to lose by publishing not yet complete, not yet fully ready stuff. That's it. You decide. I do think it's an awesome tool. So congrats. That was a nice idea. I would also say that really the compiler is probably like a weird corner case. So if your stuff works for every other project except the Z compiler, you have already succeeded, in my opinion. Even if it doesn't behave correctly in that particular case. Okay, so so we were saying intoxicated MLAG was saying your SEMA implementation is imperfect. God damn it. There is a block of cases in the big switch in analyze body inner for instructions which never return a result, which deprecated should live in. I'm not sure what he means, so I'll need to figure that out. And then we also need to figure out testing. Let's go do some spelunking. And let me commit the lang rep, and then we do this. So git add doc. Ooh, people are also saying, what if we move this guy above? Let's see what this looks like. I think this looks neat. I think I like it. I like it. Okay. We amending. So next is gonna be, okay, we'll come back to what Emlag is saying later on, I guess. Uh then what next? Yeah, tests. So man, now we're gonna have to figure out how tests work in the Z compiler, which is gonna be probably super giga fun. Zig1 build -h. Let's take a look at the help menu, because I think there's a bunch of testing related subcommands. Let's see. Test FMT, test cases, main compiler test cases, C translation, run translate C, per target module test, behavior test, C import test, compiler RT, universal libc test, standard library test, compiler source unit test, compare output tests, standalone tests, CABI, linker, stack trace, test the command line interface. We have some of these, I think. Test ASM link, debugger tests, update Zig1, update mean GW, test incremental. So we definitely have some tests, I think, that relate to the CLI. But where do tests for the built-in itself go? I guess we want like one test for the built-in, like just the naked built-in, tested through build.exe, show that it fails. Then we want a test from the CLI and integration with the build system, also standard library tests. So I'm guessing that the build system is testing the build system is part of testing the standard library. So maybe this is where we should start. Let's take a look at what test std does. So I think the way I want to do it is we look at the build script, I guess. There is no test std. What? It's okay. It's imported from here. How is this thing used then? Tests.add cases. Test modules step depend on behavior C import compiler TC std. So this is basically, this is std tests. Oh, but these are like actual unit tests, I think. Like root source is the okay, is the standard library itself. I guess my next question would be, how does the build system test itself normally? Like, does it actually have like test cases in here that do the things? No, there are none. None of this stuff has test blocks. Okay, so it's not whatever tests there might be for the build system, they're not expressed as unit tests. So it's something else. I'm curious about the CLI, test the command line interface. Let's take a look at that. That was another, I think, interesting candidate. No mention of test CLI. Let's see if we can see something here. std, c, compiler rt, c import, behavior, run per target module tests, test cases, run the main compiler test cases, test fmt. Test filters. I'm slightly weirded out by the fact that a bunch of those are defined in here, but not all of them. I guess the next I need to inspect what's under tests because there might be something hard coded in there. Maybe. Test FMT, test cases, run the main compiler test cases. How does this work? Enable LVM. Skip translate C, run translate C. This is add cases. Add module tests. Yeah, okay, I get it. Add module tests is just like this is pulling in unit tests. So we really need to go and see what's inside this bad boy. Let's see. Test targets. There we go. Add CLI tests. Test the command line interface. Test zig init. Let's see how test. Let's see how this how zig init is tested. I think this is gonna be like a good example to take inspiration from. So make a temp path. Then we invoke zig init in it. And then I guess we assert that we expect that a few things that the message says what we expect it to say. Man, okay, so for example, this is an obvious candidate for snapshot testing. In my opinion, this guy is a absolutely obvious candidate for snapshot testing. So let's see. Test missing output path. Unable to open output directory. Run bad. Build exe. Okay, source ag. Bad out arg. Nice. Build test. Build run. Test Godbolt API. Wait, Godbolt API? This is intended to be the exact CLI usage used by goldbolt.org. Okay. Test zigfmt. That's kind of it. It seems to me that there are no tests for build system stuff. What? I guess I'm adding. Okay, let's start simpler then. Let's go to behavior. Let's look at behavior tests. Wait, what? Test case. Okay, exclude paths. Test behavior is on. There you go. Test behavior.zig. I guess we need to go take a look at what's in there. Oh. Oh, this look nice. Built-in functions, returning void or no return. That's nice. The problem is that our built-in is actually causing a compile error. So we can't, like, it cannot be, the test cannot be expressed this way. It needs to be like a standalone file that, it can't be just a normal test like this. Yeah, these are all normal tests. That is annoying. So this is not the kind of, yeah, this is not the kind of testing that we want. We need something different. Test cases, main compiler test cases, for example. Maybe that's where we want to put our stuff. Maybe we should take a look at this thing. Let's see. Test cases, step test filters, filters target. Add cases. Import source slash cases. Open their test cases. Lower to build steps. Ah. Let's look at what's in test slash cases. There's a readme. Let's go. Test case quiz, quick reference. Use comments at the end of the file. Oh, this is what we want. To indicate metadata about the test case. There are examples of different kinds of tests. Let's see. Compile error test. Yeah, that's what we want. If you want it to be run with zig tests and match expected error messages, this will do zig run and expect to an execute 0. Translate C, run translate C, incremental compilations of directories. Several directories do not have any semantic meaning, but they can be used for organization since the test harness will recurse into them. The full directory path will be prepared as a prefix on the test case name. Limiting cans and targets are tested. Possible backends are stage 1, stage 2 LVM. Okay, so this is definitely where we want to be. Safety, translate C, LVM. Compile errors. Let's see. Add compile error, hello world. Case. Context.object multiline error messages graph host. Huh. File in multiple modules. Okay, so this is very generic. I think this is where we want to put our case. I guess we can put it, I don't know, near the end. So our case is going to be usage of deprecated code. But we need something more than this, I think. Do any of these guys have like main functions? This is mostly comp time. Although I think that nothing. Oh, this one is actually not that long. I expected this to be way longer. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna put it here and let's watch it run then. So this is gonna be test cases. Hello, YouTube people. Let me see. I got online a few minutes later, playback at 1.5 times and collab with reality. Nice. Let's see. Why not do pub const sleep equals block deprecated break block? It's totally doable. It can like you could do it this way. The problem is the more you add friction to doing things, the less people will do it, right? And deprecated is not the kind of thing that you want to put friction on. It's just a good idea for people to mark as deprecated what they want to deprecate. So yes, you could totally make do with a deprecated that does not accept arguments, but this one is nicer. That said, you know what? Might be that over time, maybe Andrew will decide that, you know what, it's just better to not have two versions of it. And then maybe deprecated will turn into a built-in that does not accept arguments. And that way the quote unquote weird behavior of accepting an argument will go away. So we'll see. But so far, it doesn't seem a bad idea. So here, I think we're working hard, huh? So I think we are building a ton of tests. You know what? I think we can be more precise because there are like options that can be passed, right? For example, let's see. Let's look at all the options at our disposal. Main test suite skips non-native builds. So we could probably skip all of these, but even better would be that we filter. Where's my filter stuff? Where's my filter stuff? Test filter. Skip test does not match any filter. So dash d test filter equals compile. Compile errors. Oh, wait. Deprecated? Oh, there we go. Okay, so this way we have actually... Okay, so this filter filters against this string, which is great. Not the file name. So that's awesome. Let's see. Error. Expected expression found invalid token, but found nothing. So I think the problem here is that we are not saying that this case is a test. This is not invoking a test. So this compile error is trying to run build exe, I suspect. So this needs to become main. Let's see. Unfortunately, changing the test changes the build script. So we need to rebuild the build script. That's annoying. I really need to fix YouTube integration. I'll work on that once I'm done with this stuff. With the current like list of tasks. Let's see. Expected expression found invalid token. Oh, wait. This is expecting an expression? Why is this expecting an expression? Maybe we can put a comp time block in here instead then? Yeah, but what do we do with that? Pub export function entry void. Maybe this is it? This is what we want? An, an export function? Okay, let's see how this goes. I think there are some assumptions in what goes under test compile errors that is not exactly the right thing for me. I think, oh, yeah, you know what? I think we probably want to put a new file under the compile errors directory instead of modifying this file. Let's see how this run goes. Yeah, but I'm starting to think that that's going to be what we want, maybe. Well, hello. We did get this. Okay. I think I get it. So, no, we don't want to do this. I'm going to cut it away. Let's make a new file. Let's write it in tests. Where are we? We are already in tests, aren't we? In compile errors slash deprecated.zig. So we'll want to, well, you know what? I guess I'll re-implement it from scratch. So const bed equals deprecated 42. And then we can have a test block, I guess. If bed different than 42, return error dot bad. And now I need to add the instructions at the end. So it needs to be, I guess we can look at the README. We want, I think, something like this. This message is wrong, so let's watch it fail. I suspected that for these files, the filter will match the file name. I think that's what he was saying in the README. Or not. I think test filter deprecated didn't cause our stuff to fail. So do we need to, maybe we need to wire it in explicitly. Although the README did mention that there's some recursion happening. So let's see. Each file can be a different kind of test, such as expecting compile errors. Okay. Subdirectories do not have any semantic meaning, but it can be used for an organization. So I guess we need to find the code that pulls this stuff together to understand what's going on. So to do that, there's compile errors, but this one has only its own compile errors. To be honest, we were able to make it work, so maybe leaving it in here is not that bad. Maybe it is not that bad. Um, open there, add from there, add from there, adds a test for each file in the provided directory, is inferred automatically from file names, recurses nested subdirectories. Test strategy is inferred from file names. Hey, that guy Doru, here's today. Each file should include a test manifest as a contiguous block of comments at the end of the file. Test type followed by a set of key value config values followed by a blank line and then the expected output. I think that's what we have. You know what? Wait a second. Tail call no return. Try in comp time. Union result layout. So wait. CD compile errors. Wrong use blah blah blah. Unreachable code. Switch. Stage 1. Return refi. Cat deprecated. Error test is test equal true. Okay, so I think that our file is following the convention and it's not doing anything wrong. I think that this thing claims that it is recursing, so I think we saw enough evidence that it is recursing correctly that I don't think we need to put that into question. So this is definitely happening. Test/cases. Oh, yeah, no, test/cases, yes. So this is definitely what's happening here. Add from there, blah, blah, blah. So add cases makes that happen for sure. Let's go into the main build script then. Test/cases. Wait, we can do this, I think. Summary all. Yeah, this did not run our test. Honestly, for implementing a new feature, this has been pretty fast. Yeah, it's as a feature, it's not too complicated. The most complicated part about it was orchestrating the back and forth between the build system, which invokes build exe on the CLI, and so you have to prepare all your CLI arguments, make sure that you pass them in the right way. Then you need to pick them up again, and so you have basically configuration your build like state inside your build.zig that turns into CLI arguments, then get accepted by something else that turns those CLI arguments back into state. That I think so far has been the most complicated part about it. Yeah. Here's one feature that is currently missing from this implementation of deprecated that would be actually nice to have the ability to not stop at the first deprecated that you encounter, but instead mark that as an error and then continue. So the idea is that's an error, but it's not a unrecoverable error as it is now, but it is an error that allows you still to continue analysis. And then basically, once analysis is done, or or at least until it encounters an actually unrecoverable error, then you basically report all the deprecated errors, that kind of stuff. Although I would say, you know what? Here's the thing where it maybe becomes a little bit more complicated. I would even say that the correct behavior, like the best behavior, would be you collect those deprecation errors. If analysis succeeds, then you report them. If analysis fails because you got let's say an actual compile error, then you report the compile error first. So you report that one, and then maybe you report deprecated, like you report that one first, and then you report deprecated errors afterwards, or you don't even report them, and then you only report them once you don't have normal compile errors anymore. That kind of stuff. Okay, so deprecated in its own standalone file is not working, and I don't know why. And the truth is, I don't really need deprecated to work that way. So we're saying goodbye to deprecated.zig, and we're saying, I think, hello to restoring deprecated in here, I think. And if we do this, now I think the test filter will work correctly. Excellent functions have no body. Oh, that's my bad. So I guess this is better than nothing. I guess we can settle for this. Maybe I should at least test locally that the rest of the stuff works with the build system. But it's really surprising to me that there are no tests for the build system. What? Maybe I should grab for something like build exe, then build and see if there's anything like that. Okay, now we plugged in the right error message, and it should be right. So, hello, by the way, to everybody joining. Welcome to the stream. We're working on developing a new built-in in the Z compiler. This is going to be the built-in I wrote. This is local changes. If you go to the official website, this is not yet live because, well, these first of all, local changes. Second of all, this will need to be PR'd, and so, you know, this might change before it lands on master. So we succeeded at running this test, so this is good. So the idea is that deprecated will allow you to mark code paths as deprecated. There's some nuance there that I explained earlier, but yeah. So that's kind of what I'm working on. So if you joined and you have questions about Zig, feel free to ask, and I will be happy to answer. Okay, so we have a test. At least you know what we did some due diligence. Let's see if there's anything else that we should, I guess, grab for. So if I look at how things work in tests, you can see, I believe, that in a few places, incremental check, test incremental. Let's see if we can find a good example. Translate the context. No, that's not the one I want. Compare output context. That is interesting. Is this snapshot testing, basically? Maybe this is snapshot testing. Yeah, like path join, temp path, add system command. So yeah, this is the pattern that I'm looking for. Add system command, b graph zig.exe, comma, and then I want to see build after that. So I guess I want to grab. You know what? Let's grab. Actually, maybe we can use RG. So let's enter test. Let's use rip grep for b dot grep dot thing underscore exe. You know what? Maybe let's just do this. That should be enough. Wait, does the dot go afterwards? Or is it implied? I guess it's implied. So we have this. We have this. These are the only two cases where zig.exe is calling into build. This is in test.zig 1149. Let's go to 1149. What are we looking at? Add CLI tests. Okay, so these are examples of CLI tests. Right, these are the only cases where we're calling zig build. Maybe we can add another one where we add where we add something deprecated ourselves, and then we add a flag to the invocation to see if it actually disables this stuff. I mean, could be better, could be worse, I guess. Let's do it. So we kind of want to copy these, match around. So we copy these routine. Test ZigBee fallow deprecated. So we call zig init. We don't assert anything from it, I think. And then basically, I think what we're going to do is we're going to hijack main.zig, I think. We're going to basically replace main.zig. So no assertions. No tests of this kind. Run test. No, I don't think we want to do any of these. Clean up, remove deer tree. Oh, we have to clean up after ourselves. That is interesting. Okay, so we ran init, and then here we want to replace our main file. So we want to add like a write file step, I guess. Instead of make temp path, maybe we can do echo. You know what? Maybe we can just do echo. We add a system command with echo. Let's see. Okay, so now we replace main. Oh, but I can't do echo redirect. Fuck. I can't do an echo redirect. I forgot. Yeah. So it's a write file thing. The problem with write file is that it's annoying because we need to do write files. I hate the write file API. It's completely wrong. Write files b.add write files, and then add main.zig new main source. Joban is the curious. As the process returns an iterator for args. I currently manually collect it, but is it possible to direct access the args? Under CLI, args are implementation dependent. I understand CLI args are implementation dependent. Yes, so you can use args alloc to obtain an array of it. Is that what you wanted? So with SCD-process.args alloc, you have the entire like slice of arguments right away, as their TOEFL is correctly suggesting. Let's see. Okay. So okay, we're saying and new main, and then we need to do b dot add install file. Can I do install file? I can do install file. Source path, test path. So add install file. Now this one has a lazy path. God damn it. Is this a lazy path? Oh, wait a second. Make temp path. It's not a lazy path. Right, but the problem is that this is gonna... yeah, okay, cool. So install file, source is gonna be new main. Destination relative path. Oh, I see this is gonna be relative to our output stuff. No. Okay, so it's gonna be... I think it's gonna be like this. Copy is gonna be b.add system command. Copy. And then it's gonna be new main over source/main.zig. And we're gonna do copy set cwd to this. And then we're gonna say that everything that happens afterwards needs to depend on this guy. So we copy our new main over the old main. And then we run zig build test, or like just zig build, maybe zig build run. I don't know. But then we need to make assertions about what happens. So we want to assert a failure. We can do expect. Okay, so we can run on it, expect stdr equal, expect stdout equal. Oh, this is good. That's what we want. Yeah, these are the assertions that we want. And we want to do this for both testing and perfect. Perfect. For testing and also running. Okay, let's do test as a start. So let's see. Add system command, zbuild test. Name is gonna be zbuild test. Okay, this is gonna fail because in theory this should not respect what we're doing. Let's see. Expected type constitute found built-in lazy path. Oh, right. Is it input file arg? Add file arg. Add file arg. New main. There we go. Also, copy needs to depend on. You need to take z dot step. Are we 100% dependency free yet? Who's we? Are you talking about the Z compiler? Are you referring to the LLVM dependency? The answer in that case is no, not yet. But if you read the last announcement on the official Zig website, we might be able to enable the custom backend for x86-64 Linux. So for debug builds. So they mean that if you are on, well, x86-64 Linux, then you're going to get a, yesterday I catched up on the full stream. Oh, I see. You're talking about, I see what you mean. Sorry, took me a moment to connect. You're talking about the discussion with Toggle Beat. Well, you know what? The point, in my opinion, the point is that you shouldn't strive to be 100% dependency free, right? You want to be strategical with your choice. You want to be opportunistic. You want to be promiscuous. So you want to take on dependencies when you can only get good outcome, right? When a dependency gives you good outcomes and no bad outcome ever, then that's 100% a dependency that you want to have. The problem lies in dependencies that occasionally give you problem. And depending on how much problem they give you and how often, etc., then our dependency is not going to be worth it, right? Let's see. So copy depends on z. Copy step. Okay, let's watch this run and fail. In theory, we should be able to do this. So we're going to run CLI tests now. No, test filter, test CLI. Actually, and let's give me summary all. Let's see the summary. I actually had issues with depps in Go. What do you mean? In which, what kind of issues did you have with depps in Go? If I remember correctly, my experience with Go, the only like real issue that I had in the past with Go was like basically discoverability of like newer versions, and in general, I don't know. I remember dealing with a SQL or SQLite or SQ something dependency that made it read that had like some sub packages in it or something, and like it was really weird seeing where things were implemented. I remember having real trouble understanding a piece of code there. Being flagged because use adapt. Oh, let's watch our failure. Expected this stdr, but found this. Can I just copy paste this? So we have successfully failed the test. Somehow I suspect that this is not going to be enough, but let's see what happens. Even without using the actual function with the issue, something you already talked about yesterday. Oh, I see. So yeah, I think Toggle mentioned this case where there's like a security vulnerability thing, but you depend on the same package, but you don't really use any of the affected functionality, and so you get flagged as well. Interesting. I have never experienced this myself, but that's cool. Well, cool. I mean, cool to know. We probably want to do something to capture this output. I think it's my fault. I think I am spamming this. Okay, that's failure. What happened? Expected this CDR, got this CDR. Well, I mean, god damn it. It's like it's the coloring stuff. Oh no. How do we not color? Let's see. Also, this is not using multi-line strings is really sus. Um, how do we not color? I guess I need to pass a flag to say, please don't color my output. Also, I'm surprised. Um, oh, you know what? Why are we wasting it? Because we're not asserting on it. So we're not asserting it, so we're not consuming it, and I think that's what makes it leak on the CLI. Let's assert on it. I mean, who cares? And then maybe there is something better we can do. Add check. Capture STDR, capture STD out. I don't know, maybe I should capture it and then throw it away or something. Ah, whatever. It's fine. In any case, we copy the new main source. And then yeah, in here we basically need to do, look, this is gonna be zig build test, but then what's the option? Let's see. -H. I think I need to pass it earlier. Let's look at the help menu and then let's see. There should be like a color thing somewhere. I think it's -- color. And then you do equal false. Is this MacBook or Mini? This is a Mac Mini. Color, color, color. Maybe we can pipe grab color. Okay, never mind. Color. Auto off on. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Let's see if this is any better. Copy source main.zig, not such file or directory. What? Does copy not depend on the previous step? It does depend on the previous step. No such file or directory? Wait, are you saying that there is no source? I am confused. Oh, I see why this is parameterized like this. S is the platform specific separator. So it means that this test, if there's any path, oh no, if there's any path that's specific to the platform, our asset is gonna fail. No. Oh man. God damn it. God damn it. Run test depends on copy. And then cleanup depends on run test. Yes. This error is weirding me out. And it all started with this assert. What if I remove this assert? What happens next? Now I'm curious. You know what I think it's happening? I think what's happening is that we maybe because of the cleanup, the build system thinks that it doesn't need to rerun the first step while it actually does. Yeah, now we'll leak that stuff. Unrecognized argument dash dash color equals off. So it's without the equal sign, I guess. So I'm gonna reinstate this out of curiosity. But I think we might need to say that this is a stateful step. What? Somehow the assertion changes this? What is going on, man? So copy is definitely depending on ini.exe completing. Then run test is depending on copy. And then cleanup is depending on run step. Sorry, on run test. And then the main step depends on this cleanup happening. Dude, what is going on? Why does enabling this expectation causes weird stuff to happen? So like if I take this out, I want to watch it fail now, and then I want to inspect the contents of that temporary folder. This is so weird. I'm thinking that maybe there's something related to the cache. I don't know. Unrecognized argument color off. Seriously? What? So Z will test. This is just a random project. Unrecognized argument color off. Expected auto on off. Oh, so now it's fine. Oh, wait. Am I a moron? I'm a moron. The moment that we split this up, we need to, yeah, we need to actually split it up for real. Whoops. There we go. Okay, so this has been fixed now. Let's see. Expected this STR, but found this. Oh, I guess when color is off, we don't even assume that we support this, and it becomes like the super dumb version. Okay, I'll take it. I still cannot fathom why capturing output from that invocation causes copy to not find the other file. What is going on? Expected this, but found this. Oh, and it's not telling me what. This thing used to. There's a version of this that actually tells you where the diff actually is. If it's the new line, yeah, I think this is expecting. Wait, do I have spaces in there? I don't have spaces. Okay. Okay, let's remove this. Let's see what happens. Just hopped on. What are you doing here? I am implementing a new functionality in the Z compiler, and I'm writing tests for it right now. If I have a UI application and I want to make 1 to 10 blocking syscalls a second, do you think is it okay to just spawn a thread, or is a thread pool to do this blocking call, or async APIs like libxuv would be better? Well, I would say, Andrew, this is almost a non-question, because if your API, or rather, sorry, maybe it depends on how you word it. So if your syscalls are blocking, so the syscall is blocking and there is nothing you can do, like it is a blocking API and that's how it has to be, then you have to move that call to another thread. And then, it's up to you whether it's a thread pool, whether it's a read from child process. Okay, so in that case, a read can also be turned into an async read. So you can use a non-blocking read. And so if you can use a non-blocking read, then maybe using something like libxuv could make a difference. I don't think there is like a universally correct answer. I think it's kind of up to you to some degree. There will be pros and cons in each either way you do it. But if it's a read, you can give libxuv a try and see how you like it. There are certainly benefits in not having a bunch of threads if you don't really need to have them. So unfortunately here we are like, I don't know, we there's like some giga minor problem with this thing, which is messing up our assertion, which is super annoying. Which is super annoying. Here's what we can do. Let's add dash dash verbose. And let's output the failing command. Like let's redirect the standard error of the failing command to a output to a file, and then we copy from that file. This is the invocation. No. This is the invocation. Without the listen though. No, I'm wrong. It was the previous one. Okay, let me do this again. Yeah, actually, without the verbose, that just causes confusion. I think this is the problem. I think the problem is that we're not just getting this. Yeah, I assumed that this is where it would end, but actually no, we're basically getting also this from the error, which is super annoying. So I don't think we can't expect, we can't assert the STDR. Is there something better than assert? Oh, did somebody say expect exact? Let's not expect match. There we go. Okay, so we basically want to do this. Where are we? Build, step, run. Okay. We still need to understand what's going on with with the output of the init. Why we can't capture it. I'm gonna try to capture it. Like I don't really need to ascertain it. I don't care. But obviously I don't want to leak it. There we go. We succeeded. There we go. There we go. Okay. So let's continue then. So this is test bad. Then we do test good. I think I like this. Maybe. You know what? Let's make this a one-liner. This is occupying too much space. It's long, but I prefer it as a one-liner. So make another one. This is gonna be this runs run test and then run test bad. So this is gonna be the same thing, but we do maybe this one doesn't need to be on multiple lines, I don't know. But we also do f allow deprecated. And actually we expect this to exit code 0 and expect also std and stdr to be empty, I think. Let's see how the previous build is doing. This one should fail because the good case should not error out. And so the expectation that the exit code is 1 should trip. So basically we want to do this and then we want to do the same again for just a simple build, a non-test build, just building the executable. Failure. Why? It doesn't say why. Oh, there we go. The following command exited with code 0, expected exited with code 1. So, okay, the error is not super, it's just one line, but yeah, that's exactly what we're expecting. So this has now been fixed. So if we run it again, now this should succeed. In the meantime, I'm going to prepare the final thing, which is going to be the same thing again, but no test. Also, oh shit, no, it shouldn't fix it because I forgot to remove the deprecated check. There should be the deprecated check should not be there. Like if if these guys are empty, so these should now fail, complaining that the deprecated check failed. Yeah, and it does. Correct. Okay, so in theory, we should have done everything except that. Oh, wait. Except that now we need to do this. There we go. Okay. Now we need to understand what to do with this thing. This makes no sense to me. I really don't understand what's going on. Maybe I just need a better way of writing it to a file than to do a write file and then a copy. But I don't know. Is there like a CLI tool that is no, because this has to run also on Windows. So I can expect copy to be there on Windows, but I can't expect anything smarter to be there on Windows. Okay, what happened? Expected DSTDR, but found deprecated. Test bed. Oh, yeah, that's dumb. Why was I doing this? So test bed needs to be like this. Run test needs to be like this. Run build bad needs to be like this, and run build needs to be like this. Okay. But in any case, this shouldn't. How can this influence what happens with copy? It's blowing my mind. Like this is really blowing my mind. Also, given that copy depends, well, it depends on index z, and then everything else depends on copy. So nothing else will run because of the failure of copy. Which processor are you using? I'm on a M2 Mac. Okay, so our test succeeded. So we did it right. Now we have to fight the final boss. Why is expecting? Why are these checks causing trouble? It's incredible how consistent it is. Okay, what happens if I just capture STD in and STD out? What happens then? Well, I think I can just I guess I can do this. Okay, what happens now? This is crazy to me. Like this is absolutely crazy. Is it on a MacBook Air or Pro? Neither. It's neither a MacBook Air nor a MacBook Pro. Oh, now it works. Wait, are you serious? So it's this guy? How how is this run.stdio. Okay, wait. So like this should go back to being an error. This is crazy. This is really crazy. And with this, we're back to, oh my god, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so after these works, which does not, what? It's a race condition. Okay, you know what? Let's reset. Let's clear our cache. Let's clear our cache and let's assume that this was like some weird problem related to our cache. Let's see what happens now. Does Borg pull in YouTube chat? It can, but there's a bug and it's currently disabled. I'm sorry. I need to fix it. I need to. The bug shows up after like about 1 hour and causes weird behavior in Borg. It probably has to do with me misusing the HTTP client, I suspect. But it's also a very annoying bug, so I didn't feel like exploring it. So okay, so we're getting again this error. This is so interesting. But also, I'm really weirded out by the fact that this does not rerun this command here. There's a way of saying that a thing has side effects. Let's see. If this is true, failing to execute a foreign binary will be considered an error. However, if this is false, the step will be skipped on failure instead. This allows for a run step to attempt to execute a foreign binary using an external executor such as QEMU, but not fail if the executor is unavailable. Okay, there we go. Has side effects. Maybe I am doing something like really stupid. I don't get it though. My copy step depends on initxz. And it also depends on running write files because of the lazy path. I guess we could say that the write files cannot happen. You know what? Let's add a dependency. Okay, then wf dot depend dot step depend on and then we remove this dependency. Huh, now it worked, huh? Wait, let me remove this thing. Okay, stop here. Let me remove this ugly thing. Let's see how it goes now. Hmm. This is insane. I find this absolutely insane. Copy source main.zig, no such file or directory. Yes, because there is nothing in here. Why is there nothing in here? Why is there nothing in here? I think the problem, okay, maybe the problem is really that we need to do this. Maybe this is not a problem for the other tests, but it is a problem for this one. I don't know, man. So for the people watching who might be wondering, what is this deprecated thing that I'm working on? Let me tell you what the semantics are going to be. So deprecated is going to be a built-in that you can use to mark, for example, that something has been moved. So this is actually happening in the zstandard library right now. Lib time. So you used to be able to do, well, you can right now do std.time.sleep. And but std.time.sleep, like in zig 014, we want to deprecate this and move it to std thread.sleep. If you look at it right now, so if you go to std.time, you can see, right, there's sleep, and then there's a deprecated comment. And so if you see the doc comment, you will see that it's deprecated. You do .sleep. And okay, this is not, okay, ZLS is not showing me that it is deprecated because right now the main Zig executable that I have is another one. It's not the one in, it's complicated. I'm developing on the compiler itself, so my setup is a bit in a wonky state. But you normally would see that in the doc comment, and it's better than nothing, I guess. But the problem is that it doesn't tell you proactively, like as a user, you want to proactively look for usage of deprecated code. Like you want to move away from deprecated code. So far, right now, there is no easy way for you to do so. Right now, you could grab the code base for mentions of deprecated, but then, you know, first you do that, then you see what is the corresponding decal, and then you need to search if you are using that decal. So it's kind of unfeasible. Like I guess you can do it if you really want to, but it's not easy. So I wouldn't expect anybody to do that ever. And in fact, as I was doing this work, people have found out, have discovered that now sleep has been moved. They didn't know about it. So what does deprecated do? At deprecated can be used like this. So instead of putting a comment, you just wrap your value in at deprecated. And in this case, it means that basically the thing only moved. There are also other patterns, like because not always a deprecation means that something got moved. Like deprecation can mean also other things. But the idea is that then the direct consumers of a deprecated API, so if you use something that has been deprecated in a dependency that you're using directly, be it the standard library or be it another package that you're using, that is a build error. So your code cannot depend directly on deprecated code. That is a build error by default. If instead a dependency that you're using, so you have a build.zig file, you have a build.zig.zone, and you have dependencies, and your dependencies are calling std.time.sleep, then that is not a build error. But it will be a build error for the author of that package whenever they want to make a new version of that package. So whenever they will run, tests for that package, they will see that now they are depending on deprecated code. And so when they release a new version, they will be basically forced to move away from the deprecated code usage that they're doing, which is a good move. But as long as you depend on an older version of that package, even if that package uses std.lib.sleep, which got deprecated in the meantime, that's fine. That's not a build error for you. So the idea is to basically make moving away from deprecated code kind of a priority. You get a build error if you directly try to depend on deprecated code, but it's not like horribly strict. There is some slack there, which allows basically you to leverage the grace period in which an API hasn't been removed yet, in which it stays there and it is deprecated, which might be actually arbitrarily long. Like you can imagine that a package that is really serious about backwards compatibility might want to deprecate APIs, but also might want to never remove them, which is also very powerful. Like this idea that a package that wants to be serious about backwards compatibility tends to have the problem that it will have a bunch of APIs that are deprecated, and it might not always immediately obvious to a new consumer, that those are deprecated APIs that still exist for backwards compatibility, but that you are not supposed to be using as a new consumer of that package, because they got deprecated because over time better ways of doing things have been discovered. So the old stuff stays there for backwards compatibility, but you shouldn't be using it anymore if you're a new user. So previously, the only way for this to be communicated by a package author was documentation. Long story short, so either you put it in a README, you put it in a doc string, and then you hope that the user will see that through their LSP, stuff like that. But now, at deprecated guarantees that a new consumer will basically get an error. If deprecated has no argument, then your dependencies will no longer compile, will they? No, it's more nuanced than that. So here's an example where deprecated is used without argument. Basically, without argument, I would say you should consider without argument to be kind of the default, and then passing it an argument is like is syntax sugar. It's a shortcut that allows you to basically more quickly wrap something in deprecated. But like, let me put it this way: another way of expressing this could very well be this. Instead of doing this, wait. Instead of doing this, you could do this. So this would totally work. So basically, this is so that you don't have to write all this stuff. So what does it do? Well, in this example, it's basically... Actually, you know what? Never mind. I'm not sure this is exactly the same. Give me a moment to think about it. No, yeah, it is exactly the same. I believe that this is exactly the same. So the way it works here in this example is that you want to put deprecated in code paths that are resolved at calm time. So in this example, there's like this concept of computing something using three possible strategies. So you as a user can choose the strategy, and then you pass another couple of arguments. One being another setting called foo, and bar being, the, let's say, the runtime known value. Then you will need to manipulate. Again, this is like an example, so it's not meant to be super realistic. So the idea is you have then a switch where you switch over the strategy, and the strategy can be greedy, expensive, or fast. And it turns out, after a while, the library discovers that the combination of greedy strategy plus foo being false, imagine that foo being false has some kind of meaning. Well, this combination is actually bad. You shouldn't do that. And when foo is false, you should actually run the fast strategy. But for backwards compatibility, since let's imagine that there's like a big difference between greedy and fast. So for backwards compatibility, the library doesn't just swap out the strategy for you. It doesn't just invoke run fast for you. It just points out that it is deprecated, and then you should just not do that in your code, because maybe you were expecting some promise. Like maybe in the past, the promise was the greedy plus false was supposed to be super good, and now it's just not true anymore. It was discovered that it's not true anymore. So you put deprecated in here, and what happens is that this causes a build failure only because compute here is passing in greedy and false. If in this example, compute was doing greedy and then true, well, with greedy and true, then it would not have been deprecated. It would not hit the deprecated at compile time, and then it would actually run greedy without complaining. So, long story short, deprecated without arguments is meant to allow you to be more nuanced with what you want to deprecate. It allows you to deprecate specific code paths, but those code paths need to be solved at compile time. So it's a compile time thing. It's not a runtime thing. But it allows you to then, basically to deprecate specific combinations of comp time things. Okay, let's see if we succeeded. I think we wanted to run basically this a couple of times to see if the has side effect flag was actually necessary. And I think that if we invoke this 2 or 3 times and it succeeds every time, then I think we can confirm that in the end, that was the fix needed. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not that. Yeah. Okay. We're succeeding. We're totally succeeding. We can do also some Mariol. And it should show that we're always running this stuff. Or you know what? Maybe what we should do. I think I know what the answer is. The answer is not that this has side effects true. I think the answer is that these has side effects false. Maybe? I think this is another way of doing it, where we basically say, no, this does not have side effects. So if this succeeded and these guys succeeded, yeah, I think this is the solution. So if you want to deprecate, say, a function, you would put add deprecated at the start of the function block. Yes, that's one way of doing it. Yes, if you don't have a replacement, you're not moving it somewhere else, and the replacement is doing something different, then yes, you would put add deprecated at the start of the function. That is perfectly legit. And then you would probably want to put a comment on the same line. Like there's this trick also where you see that I put some instructions on the side, right, as a comment. So the idea would be you put a comment on the side, and then the comment on the side says to the user what they should be doing. Would it be possible to put add deprecated on default struct fields? Like GPA has deprecated fields, so it would make sense to deprecate them. Well, with the current semantics, mm, I'm not even sure how this works right now, because the problem is how deprecated is implemented right now is that if you end up analyzing it, then it's a build error. So I suspect that what you're describing is not representable with the current semantics, because you will need to basically analyze deprecated in this context, not complain about it, and then complain here. Basically, you would kind of need to quote unquote poison this default value so that usage becomes bad, and that's not currently covered. I guess if you really wanted to, you could try to implement something like this, but then it makes usage of deprecated more complicated. So I'm not sure. Also, would have probably curious side effects when it comes to uh, like metaprogramming. That said, I'm not saying that it is a bad idea. It might be worth it. It's just, I think, outside of scope for the current implementation. So what happened now? We failed. Copy source main.zig, not such file or directory. Okay, you know what? I'll take it. I'll take the high side effects through version, I guess. Would it make sense to allow the usage of deprecated code per scope, similar to runtime safety, maybe in addition to the global allow deprecated flag? Like, you mean considering a scope deprecated? I mean, I guess you could do that, but you have something even better already. Like right now, you can use deprecated for something more granular than a scope, right? You can use it for a specific combination of things, like of values. Like you can basically guard it with any kind of comp time logic. So I don't know. I feel like, or like, I'm not sure what would there be to gain if we were to somehow forbid this and then allow it at a scope level. As for, I'm not sure then what you mean by maybe in addition to the global allow deprecated flag. I'm not sure what this last thing is meant to imply. Okay, so we have a couple tests. They work. So the next thing that we could do is try to tackle what Emlag was saying. Emlag was saying that there was some aspect of how we implemented deprecated in SEMA that was suboptimal. Uh, but I'm not sure. I'm also not sure how much we should trust him. He admitted that he was intoxicated, so let's see. So he was saying, "Hi, Loris. I'm rather intoxicated, but if you're working on add deprecated, then your SEMA implementation is imperfect." There's a block of cases in the big switch in analyze body inner, so that's where we are, for instructions which never return a result, which deprecated should leave in. Okay, so what he's saying is that deprecated, instead of being like here up top, I think that if we scroll down, these red other built-in ASM error, refi, closure, set float mode, restore, value placeholder, unreachable never appears in a body, field parent pointer, built-in value, in place arithmetic result type, debug empty statement, ASTgen error. What? Breakpoint. Oh, maybe it's talking about these guys just. There's a block of cases in the big which in analyze body inner for instructions we never return a result which deprecated should leave in, like breakpoint. Although we do return a value. You know what? I'm just gonna leave it here and call it a day, I guess. Let's reveal stage 2 to check that everything checks out. Let's see. Also deprecating a struct. Pub const at deprecated foo equals. Well, you would, given how deprecated works right now, you would have to do it to the value, not to the decal name. There's one argument that could be made in favor of saying that maybe deprecated should be a keyword, not a built-in. But there are probably plenty of other implications behind making a keyword versus making a built-in. Let's see. I mean, on the user side, let's say that there is only one place in the code where I still want to use a deprecated code. But for all other places, I would expect the compilation to fail. So for this one place, I want to allow myself to use the deprecated code. I annotated block with allow deprecated. That's not what Zig wants you to do. It's kind of like unused variables. Or, you know, a var when you should be using const. It's the kind of strictness that Zig has where it just kind of wants to make you move away from deprecated code, basically, without compromises. Keep in mind that you only encounter deprecated code when you're updating your stuff. So if you never update, like when you have a dependency and you don't update the dependency, you will not incur in surprise deprecated code. You will only incur in and also the idea is that you shouldn't willingly opt into deprecated code. Like the idea is that deprecated is deprecated for a reason. It's like the assumption, I guess, is that you don't deprecate stuff, you know, lightly. Of course, there is no guarantee that package authors will follow that rule. Maybe people will, you know, mark as deprecated random stuff all the time. We can't say for sure. But I think the cultural expectation is that, well, you know what? I think we can assume that it's reasonable to assume that that's not going to be the case because people just don't want to deprecate stuff if they don't have to, I imagine. So I don't know. We'll see. In any case, as usual, the idea is to start very strict and then relax constraints if there seems to be a reason to. But be aware that this is the kind of behavior that in general Zig does not want to make easy. I'll tell you a secret. If you really, 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 really want to do this, first of all, you have two options. One is that you can build your project with f allow deprecated. That will work fine. I don't know if you were following along when I was writing my tests, but you can access deprecated code without issue if you pass f allow deprecated. Second point, let's say that there is only one example of this. Here's the trick. You make a dependency, and the role of that dependency is to access deprecated code, and then you access the deprecated code. The idea is that basically instead of doing you accessing directly the deprecated code, you create a dependency that access the deprecated code, and then you use that dependency instead. So instead of accessing directly the deprecated code, you have like a one level of indirection. That will work. But I would say you need to have a reason that at least good enough to go through this whole dance. Where normally instead the idea is no, you just don't use deprecated stuff because it's bad for everybody. I think that's currently the null hypothesis in a sense. Okay, so I think it's time to make a PR. I think I did my due diligence, and yeah, let's see what happens. Actually, we want to, yeah, good job, Git. GitHub picked up on what I was doing. So I think I need to write a good error, a good message here because there's stuff that I'm definitely not 100% convinced of. So let's see. Well, implements. Huh. Huh. Oh my god, this works. What's the name of my issue though? Built in. There we go. I don't know if so. Let's see. Should I add comments at the top level? Should I add comments on the source code? Oh, let's go. Let me rephrase this. I think I'm just gonna put a sentence there and then go comment the source code. Okay. Let's go add some comments. So module.zig, build module.zig. Yeah. Okay. So I guess question number one: Do we need to have this property? Could it be that I'm like meant AST gen instead of SEMA? We kind of put deprecated in a random place in AST gen, while in SEMA it was an extended instruction, so it's not like there were that many places where to go touch stuff. Let's say that the comment was actually about AST gen. No, but he did mention the other thing. Well, let me scroll these instructions a little bit. This breakpoint frame address, I don't know. Nothing really pops to my eye, so I guess we'll see. Package module. Actually, it's not a later comment. I think it was here that we should have commented that there is another way of doing it, maybe. No, not here. Here. Which is here? Hmm. Yeah, I think this was it. Append zig process flags. Yeah. So if it's desirable. Oh, desirable. Okay. To prevent individual modules in the Zigbee system from overriding their allow deprecated behavior, here we could instead uh, check the is root property Hey, two-step. Since both Melky and Marek counts are streaming learning in Zig right now. Interesting. So Melky, I'm aware of. I actually have scheduled with Melky a stream together where I will try to have him go through the first chapter of the book I'm working on. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I think we don't care about this. These are my tests. Okay. Let's go. Okay, so I guess we'll see. We'll see if the CI agrees with my code or not. And yeah, now watch the Windows tests fail because like CP is not available or God knows what what weird problem has Windows. Let's take a look at what Mark Counts is doing. So twitch.tv slash Mark Counts. Let's see, I'm curious. I'm gonna take a look also at Mailkey in a moment, maybe. What's going on? Kierplop, day 3, core day, Aka Zig. What? There's a ton of jokes in here that I think I'm not following. What's happening? What's happening? Enough with the YouTube stats uh stuff. Where's the code? Where's Zig code? What? Right, Melky? I don't know if I want to go yet. Let me think. I should probably. That's a fair point. What's Melky doing? Oh, I'm getting. Oh my god, I'm getting the Inception. Holy shit, Melky is like going through the Pedro pack book like a boss. Let's go. What do we have here? These functions have snake case in their name. Zap. Okay, so this is a web server thing. Melky is yapping like always. Okay, yeah, I think it's a good moment to raid Melky, I guess. Building a base64 encoder. Let's go. Okay. Uh, Sorry, Smolus. Yeah. But you're going to Melky. Start raid. Can I get a quick summary? Sure. While the raid buffers, I'll give you a quick summary. The quick summary is actually you're seeing here. I made a PR. I implemented a new feature called deprecated, a deprecated built-in in the Z compiler, and I PR'd it. So I did all the ugly work of adding documentation, adding tests, making sure that my stuff makes at least some sense, and then I basically I PR'd it. So you might be interested in taking a look at the proposal issue, where you will see interesting discussion about how @deprecated is supposed to work in Zig. So everybody, be good and have fun with Melky. Teach him some good Zig. See you all next time.